Once upon a time, in an old town surrounded by thick forests and mist-covered mountains, there lived an elderly man named Edward and his young grandson, Oliver. The town was quiet, with cobblestone streets and homes that had been passed down for generations. The townspeople lived simple lives, following the same routines year after year, embracing tradition and hard work. Edward, a man in his late 70s, had lived in this town for all his life. He had seen the rise and fall of many things, old traditions fading, new ideas emerging, and many people coming and going. Through all these changes, one thing remained constant: his love for his grandson, Oliver. Oliver, a curious about 10, was full of energy and wonder, always looking for adventure in the simplest of places. One autumn afternoon, while playing near an ancient oak tree that stood just beyond the edge of their small garden, Oliver stumbled upon something unusual buried in the earth. It was a small, intricately carved lamp, tarnished by time, but still holding an odd shimmer. Curious, Oliver picked it up and rubbed the lamp, just like the tales of genies and magic he had heard his grandfather tell him at bedtime. To his astonishment, a swirl of smoke erupted from the lamp, forming into a towering figure with glowing eyes and a booming voice.
I am the genie of the lamp. You have freed me, young one, and for that I shall grant you 3 wishes.
The genie declared, his voice echoing through the air. Oliver, stunned but excited, glanced over at his grandfather. Edward had heard many tales of magic, but never thought they would come to life in front of his eyes. 3 wishes, you say? Oliver asked, his voice trembling with anticipation. Well then, I wish for wealth, for us to be the richest people in this town. The genie's eyes glowed brighter as he nodded and snapped his fingers. Instantly, their small house transformed. Gold coins and jewels began to appear, scattered throughout the rooms. Edward, however, watched with a furrowed brow. Oliver, my boy, Edward said gently, wealth is not everything. It can bring joy, but it can also bring trouble. Are you sure that's the first thing you want? But before Oliver could respond, the genie interrupted.
Your wish has been granted, young master. What is your second wish?
Oliver hesitated. There was so much more he could ask for: power, fame, endless knowledge. But after seeing his grandfather's concerned look, he thought for a moment. I want the power to make everyone love us. Every person we meet should want to be our friends and help us. Again, the genie snapped his fingers, and a warm aura surrounded them. The townspeople, once distant and indifferent, began to approach Edward and Oliver with smiles on their faces, eager to befriend them. The streets were filled with people offering their help, their kindness, their praise. One evening, after a long day's work, Oliver sat with his grandfather beneath the same oak tree where he had found the lamp. He looked out over the town, now familiar and full of life in a way it hadn't been before. Grandpa, Oliver said, I get it now. The invisible ladder isn't something you climb in one step or with one wish. It's the journey, one small choice, one step at a time, building something real. The wealth, the power, the magic, they can all disappear. But the person you become, the way you touch the lives of others, that's the real treasure. Edward smiled, his heart full of pride. Yes, my boy, you have learned the greatest lesson of all. Life is not about shortcuts or instant results. It's about the climb, the struggle, and the wisdom you gain along the way. The invisible ladder is always there, but you have to climb it with the right heart. As the sun set over the town, casting a golden light on the horizon, Oliver knew that the climb would continue. But this time, he was ready. And no matter how high or low he went, he knew the invisible ladder would always be there, guiding him towards something greater than he could ever have imagined. Conclusion: Oliver's journey was just beginning, but the lesson was clear. The invisible ladder of life requires patience, integrity, and genuine effort. You can't always see the steps ahead, but each one you take, however small, will lead you closer to the true success of a fulfilling life. True wealth is not in material things, but in the experiences, the growth, and the relationships you build as you climb.